The Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act was enacted in 2015. NAPTIP was given the mandate to implement this act in the FCT. How far has NAPTIP gone with the implementation of this act? Our package will tell you more if you stay with NAPTIP On The Move. Thank you for joining us. I'm Angela Agwigi. You're welcome.
Enacted in 2015, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act seeks to eliminate violence in private and public life, prohibit all forms of violence against persons, and to provide minimum protection and effective remedies for victims and punishment for offenders. NAPTIP is mandated to implement this act in the Federal Capital Territory.
NAPTIP, as the primary implementing agency, has been implementing the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act as should since 2015. So since the enactment of the Act in 2015, the Vapp Act is gender responsive, it is proactive, and it is extremely progressive. It prohibits all sorts of grotesque crimes like incest, like female genital mutilation, forceful ejection from home, economic abuse, harassment, forced isolation or separation from family and friends, stalking, date rape, all sorts of crimes that, let me say, 30 years ago weren't crimes. But the Vapp Act currently criminalizes such acts. The Act provides a legal framework for the prevention of all forms of violence against persons. So, against persons, which means it covers men, it covers women, it covers boys, and it covers girls. But usually, when people hear the Vapp Act, their first inclination will be it only protects women and girls. No, it protects all persons. And so far, 35 states in Nigeria have adopted the Vapp Act as law, which is really, really fantastic. And the latest state that adopted this act as law was Zamfara State. It was signed into law by the governor on December 29th, 2022. And, we can only say that this incremental adoption of the act is due to the concerted efforts of, first, I would say, the Honorable Minister of Federal Ministry of Women's Affairs, Dame Pauline Taleb, and also the Governor's Wives Forum. They also pushed for the adoption of the Vapp Act. And of course, the various stakeholders, civil society, organizations. So for now, we only have one state in the Northwest that is yet to adopt the Vapp Act as law. And I am hopeful that this year, that state will do that.
Implementation of the Vapp Act in the FCT is an onerous task.
For us in NAPTIP, 2022 was extremely busy for us in the FCT. we received a total of 1,342 reports, 907 walk-ins, and 435 reports via our 24 hours call center. The highest number of reports bordered on spousal abuse, followed by rape. Then the third on the list was infliction of physical injury, and the fourth was abandonment. We had about 91 emergency cases where victims needed to be rescued immediately to a safe place. To effectively operationalize the task of coordination and collaboration in the implementation of the Vapp Act, 2 platforms were set up. So we have the high-level multi-agency task team, which is known as the HIMAT, and it comprises of core referral agencies. So you have NAPTIP, you have the police, you have the civil defense, you have the National Human Rights Commission, you have the National Center for Women Development, you have EFCC, NIMC, Correctional Services, Federal Ministry of Justice. And these agencies are expected to work closely with NAPTIP to realize the implementation of the Vapp Act in the FCT. Then the second implementation platform is the Service Providers Accountability Resource Committee, popularly known as the SPARC, with members drawn from the different service providers community. So it brings together different civil society organizations and non-governmental organizations that work in the SGBV space. So the HIMAT and the SPARC platforms are expected to hold quarterly meetings, just to bring everyone together, strengthen that coordination, to share what everyone is doing, and also to see how we can simplify processes. So the first quarterly meeting for 2023 will hold in February for both the HIMAC and the SPAC.
NAPTIP is consistently intensifying efforts to ensure that the Vapp Act is successfully implemented.
In 2021, a Vapp department was established in NAPTIP to handle all cases of violence against persons in the FCT. And in September 2021, a Vapp coordinator was also appointed as stipulated in Section 42 of the Vapp Act. So basically, the Vapp coordinator is responsible for the prevention of domestic violence in the FCT and the submission of an annual Vapp report to the federal government of Nigeria, and also deposit same with the National Bureau of Statistics. For the first time, the agency presented the 2020 Vapp report in December 2021, and we are currently finalizing the 2021 report, and we have already begun collation of the 2022 Vapp report. We also have a unit called the Rapid Response Unit, responsible for timely rescue of survivors and investigation of these cases, amongst other responsibilities. The Rapid Response Unit is a 24 hours unit. Officers of this unit work all day, every day. They are always available to take on emergency cases in the FCT. Now, in terms of victims' rights as provided for in Section 38 of the Vapp Act, NAPTIP operates a shelter in the FCT which caters for victims of human trafficking and also for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. And our shelter in the FCT actually receives more survivors of sexual and gender-based violence than we do victims of human trafficking. So at the shelter, in addition of sheltering survivors, We feed them, we clothe them, we provide medical support, we provide psychosocial support, we provide legal assistance. We also provide rehabilitation and reintegration support, so whether vocational or formal education. We also do what we call family tracing and family reunification.
The agency is the custodian of the National Sex Offenders Database.
The National Sex Offenders Database was launched in 2019, and as at today, we have about 1,047 cases uploaded to the National Sex Offenders Database, which really isn't adequate. When you see the incremental cases of SGBV across the country, you expect that the National Sex Offenders Database we have uploaded more cases than it currently has. As of today, 11 states have synchronized their sex offenders register to the National Sex Offenders Database. So we have Ekiti, we have Kaduna, we have Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Delta, Edo, Kano, Kwara, Yobe, and Borno. So these are the 11 states that have synchronized their own state sex offenders register to the national database, and I believe it's very important for more states to join the bandwagon. And one important point I think to mention is it's not enough to just synchronize your state's register to the NSOD. It also has to be populated. Now, in fulfillment of Section 41 of the Vapp Act, which stipulates that protection officers are to be appointed to the 6 area councils in the FCT to assist the courts, to assist the police and service providers in the discharge of their duties. February last year, NAPTIP, with support from the Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption program, which is being implemented by the British Council, appointed, trained, and deployed 12 protection officers to the 6 area councils of the FCT. So each 2 protection officer per area council. So we have Gwagwalada, we have Buari, we have Kuje, we have Amak, Kwali, and Abaji.
The prevention efforts of the agency has informed the inauguration of trafficking in persons and sexual and gender-based violence vanguards in secondary schools. Sensitization campaigns in the 6 area councils of the FCT. Workshop for school counsellors in the FCT. Curation of the Survivors Co-Mentoring Platform for survivors of SGBV and awareness workshop for the deaf community.
We were able to transcribe the Vapp Act and our IEC materials into Braille, and this was done with the support of the Disability Commission.
In accordance with Section 28 of the Vapp Act, the agency applies for protection order for survivors. NAPTIP secured 4 convictions in 2022, while 89 cases are currently ongoing in various courts in the FCT. A lot of efforts, measures and strategies have been put in place to ensure effective implementation of the Vapp Act, and for stakeholders, funding will enhance its implementation.
Everything about it, what they call the referral pathway, that's what you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to be able to get to justice, and you are happy that justice is served. It costs money. The long hand they do in courts now, what if we modernize it? It is money. We talk about specialized courts, designated court, designated judges, all these things cost money. We need specialized persons, psychiatrists, psychologists, accountants, different categories of people. You need them to be here, and their fees don't come cheap. Is it the equipment? If you want to talk about AFCC, I'm aware, I've been enriched by being the first Vapp coordinator. The polygraphic test. What does the polygraphic test do for is such that information that could be concealed will be exposed. And it also, from what I know, it helps you to check reoccurrence. So the people who have potential to be serial violators, perpetrators, they are being found, they are being searched out. And the equipment is mobile, so it's not that it's static, but it is expensive. The pain, the bills involved in this is huge. The meetings that are convened, then when you want to look at other issues like the communication that can change behavior, strategic communication that will change behavior, because this thing is not just a spirit, it's something of the heart that plays out in bad behavior. So if you want to do that, it means you have to be making appeal, until you are able to achieve that communication that changes behavior. It becomes a problem, and it costs money. In all that we need to be doing, that as contained in this book, it costs money. Damage done to human body, especially for women, but very delicate. You have to do so much. Maintaining shelter is a lot of money. Maintaining sexual assault referral center is a lot of money. Every aspect of prosecuting this matter, you need so much money to do, so that people are not living in fear, people are not living in indignity, people are not being stigmatized, people who have the courage to come to report, and potential perpetrators will know that there is enough budget to be able to deal with them. It is only then that we'll be able to sleep and close our eyes.
For NAPTIP as an agency, prosecution of Vapp cases has its challenges.
We have difficulty in proving crimes like, say, harassment, emotional and verbal abuse, and it's like when someone comes to say, oh, I'm being harassed by this person, if you don't have concrete evidence, if you don't have documentation, then we wouldn't have anything to go on with. In as much as we believe a survivor, we also need facts and evidence to be able to present in court, because that is the only way that we can ensure conviction at the end of the day. So I always advise people, if you find yourself in this situation and you know that it is consistent, so it's not one-off, so consistent abuse, it's always very important to document this abuse. And also another major challenge we face in this work is family and community interference, which leads to a high turnover of withdrawal of cases. Now abuse is often seen as a family or a community issue, and this has allowed this abuse to fester. People bring petitions to us, we start investigating, we put all the evidence together, we file the matter in court. Before we know, they're writing to withdraw the case saying, oh, the community has settled us, or our family has settled us, or my husband has promised not to beat me again. So in situations like that, there's really nothing we can do. So we face a high turnover of withdrawal of cases, and also difficulty in procuring witnesses. Everyone is sympathetic, but no one wants to stick out their necks for another. You hear people say, oh, her story is so sad. But I ask, what does her sad story inspire you to do?
Stakeholders emphasize prevention to curb incidences of violence in Nigeria.
A lot of people feel that if there is proper coordination, if there is respect for space, if that estimated budget is being taken by every stakeholder, say, look, private sector, civil society, the media, the lawmakers, government people, farmers, traditional rulers, religious leaders, if they see it as a collective responsibility, it will be better. You are not afraid of any other because you have your space. Yes, there may be a thin line between your mandate and my mandate, but it doesn't matter. So a lot of people believe that it is better to prevent. So the prevention will always be cheaper and better than mitigating it. So it's simple. So the expectation is legitimate and the expectations are doable. So it's for all of us to come together and look for better ways of achieving this. It is achievable. It is cost effective. It will bring everybody to a common ground, and it will send a very dangerous signal. So Nigeria can be a better place.
Despite the challenges, NAPTIP remains committed to ensuring the full implementation of the Vapp Act.
In all, I would say one change I have seen in the FCT this past year is the increase in reportage. That wall of silence is crumbling and people are speaking up, and there is increase in public trust in NAPTIP, because we don't turn our backs on people when they need our help. When people come to report, we listen to you. So just to say that NAPTIP is here to serve you, and to serve we shall.
Support NAPTIP to curb all cases of violence in the FCT.
Every day, NAPTIP receives reports on all forms of violence against persons, diverse cases of domestic violence, rape, incest, physical abuse, especially child abuse. NAPTIP is leaving no stone unturned to ensure that victims are compensated and offenders severely punished. But NAPTIP needs a lot of support. The Vapp Act can be most effective when each state government takes the required steps to domesticate the Act. Then victims shun the culture of silence and report to NAPTIP. Call NAPTIP today on 0703 0000 203 or the toll-free shortcode 627. NAPTIP, ensuring a human trafficking and violence-free nation.
You can see that NAPTIP and all stakeholders are doing all it takes to ensure effective implementation of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act in the FCT. Our Victim Story segment will be on shortly. Keep watching.
I was staying with my parents in Port Harcourt. There was one auntie living near us. She's my neighbor. She got married. She now said I should come and stay with her. She now carried me here. I was helping her to do house chores and take care of her children. My uncle was asking me questions and I was answering. From there, he started touching me. Then the next day, he now put me on his bed and raped me. So my uncle has been sleeping with me. Then my auntie started maltreating me. She always beat me. And she woke me up for about 4 o'clock during school times to go and boil hot water. Since I was feeling sleepy, I now go and slept in the kitchen. She now used hot water to pour me. Hot water from the dispenser. I went to school that day, the day that the hot water, they poured me and the thing burnt me. So I went to school, I told my friends. So my friends now say, there's one thing that I used to teach us, anybody that touch you should come and report. So me and my friends, we now go and report. We now went to Lembe. Lembe now called NAPTIP and they came to carry me. I would say I didn't wish for this to happen to anybody out there. And I say God will bless and protect NAPTIP and reward them handsfully in Jesus' name. Amen.
For more inquiries and support, or to report cases of suspected human trafficking, violence against persons and child abuse, please call NAPTIP hotline 0703 0000 or the short code 627, or email us info@naptip.gov.ng. Visit our website www.naptip.gov.ng. Follow us on our social media platforms at NAPTIP Nigeria or watch our videos on YouTube.
Our time is fast spent. Thank you for watching and do keep a date with us same time next week. I'm Angela Agbegi. Bye for now.